So we're going to take a look at the different views that you will have access to in the client from within the staff interface. So we have done a search for this book, Uncatalogued, by Julie Kaywert. I've never said her name out loud, so I'm not sure that that's how you pronounce it. And the first thing that you have the option to see is the OPAC view, which is essentially what we see the patron see in the OPAC. It is the first tab within the staff client as well. The next option for that is the Mark Edit. You as copy catalogers won't really be using the screen, but you can definitely see it. You're not going to be able to edit it because you won't have the same permissions to do that, but you can see what the editor looks like. You can also see the fixed fields, which is another aspect of that record that you don't see in the Mark view, which is the next option. The fixed fields are actually represented in some of those other fields there, specifically in the 008, and I believe mostly in the 008. So while you see the information, you don't see how it actually got in there when you're looking at the Mark view, which is your next option. You can look at the hold, and this is an important thing when you have attached a holding to a record and then going back and adding holds to that. That's something we talk about in the holds and transits class. Monograph Parts. This screen here, you can actually do some work in here because you as a copy cataloger do have the ability to add new parts. So you would click on new monograph part, give it a label, and there's some guidance in the documentation as how to create those labels, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on too. It's going to automatically assign a record number to that, or you can actually see that record number is actually already reflective of the database ID. And then click Save, and you can see then that shows up in the list of parts. You could also delete parts that don't, well, we'll get into that later. You have some work that you can do in this screen. The next screen is the holdings view, so you can see what your library holds, or if you were to change show the holdings, that it could be the entire consortium, your library, another library, in some cases that's appropriate. You also have some options in this view. You can show empty call numbers, so it could be where the call number has been established, attached to a record, but you haven't yet added items, barcodes into that. You can show all the libraries that don't have it as well. And you can define some more things. There's also an actions menu that we'll look at further down here. And this is a place that you can also deal with alerts, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. The next tab is Conjoined Holdings. We have made pretty much a consensus decision, although it isn't in policy yet, to not use conjoined holdings unless there is a situation where nothing else will fit the bill as far as it working in a way for your library. They have been rarely used so far within Evergreen. Generally, it's been used in connection with some type of kit. And what it does is it allows you to join an item that has a record assigned to it with another item that has another record assigned to it into this conjoined kind of thing. It's kind of fussy and it has some further implications, and that's why we recommend against it. But the tab is here right now. It will likely disappear from this view in the upgrade, but it will still be accessible through the menus. You do have the option from all of these views to pick the one you want to see first. And this will be connected to the workstation that you have set up. So keep that in mind. But if you know that you're going to be looking at the holdings view first, that you care most about that based on the way you're accessing records, or you want to look immediately at the marked view, you can set that as the default. So you'll go to whichever of those tabs you prefer and then select set default view, and that will allow you to see that.